Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit TerraplexAg.com.
My name is Joseph Hurst. I live in Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm a part of the PMBA program. I currently work as the Director of Sales at Stony Creek Hotels in Johnston, Iowa, and I chose the Iowa State MBA program because it just made perfect sense. About 2 years ago, I started this wonderful program, and I couldn't imagine not having done it. What has helped the most balance work, life, school, has been the people I'm in class with. It's great to go through questions, problems, study for tests, and it just makes the whole class so much easier. As a working professional thinking about doing an MBA program, I get night classes aren't everybody's dream. I get after a long day of work, you may not want to go do more, but it's worth it. You're going to learn a lot, not just from the professors in the program, but from the other students. They come from all walks of life. They are from different age groups. They're from different companies. They're from all kinds of different backgrounds. They've got all kinds of different stories. And after 2 years, I've made some of the best friends I've ever made, learned the most I've ever learned, and I can't imagine what we're going to do after we're done.
I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic, and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans.
And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field.
Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum. From the Northwest Bank Studios, it's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
What is up? Happy Super Bowl Sunday in the Northwest Bank Studios. They should have Bruce Buffer there tonight at the Super Bowl. We'll bring him to Hilton Coliseum next Saturday.
Yeah, he could do a double dip, Saturday, Monday. Bruce, who says no? Not
Stay
me.
there on Sunday for some Iowa State, K-State women's basketball and Cyclone wrestling against UNI. It's going to be quite the weekend at Hilton
Iowa
Coliseum.
State marketing, Bruce Buffer. I mean, he's probably really reasonably priced, too. What do you think? Is he more... If you get Bruce Buffer, honestly, I will find this answer. I bet he's way more than Red Panda would be. So Red Panda...
Oh, yeah.
Just for the people. Red Panda runs like $5,000 a game.
I
How about that?
bet to get Bruce Buffer, it would cost the same as getting
20 grand.
Red Panda for every game.
Bruce! If anybody knows Bruce, reach out.
Well, we're 3 minutes in and we're already off topic.
Off topic. Bruce! No.
As you can tell, Chris Williams is not here. He is en route to Florida. I think he's at the airport right now. I don't think he's in the air yet, but he's going to be in the air during the Super Bowl. Which
He just stopped.
Unbelievable.
He stopped by my house again. He lives 5 doors down, and he's like, "Now that you're my insurance guy, do I have to buy the auto rental insurance?" And I said, "Depends on the company." So just FYI, I'm here to help on every Sunday too, just for that guy.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a real friend right there.
What a friend! What an insurance agent! Right
That's
there.
the type
Brent.
of insurance agent you're getting.
Brent.Blum at fbfs.com right there.
Well, we got a lot to get to today.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
all brought to you by Mechdyne, Enabling Discovery. That's not Mechdyne. That's the Nate Heise glue T-shirt, which
We're getting to that.
you should get that as well. We'll get into that in just a second. But we are brought to you by Mechdyne. There we go. Enabling Discovery in Marshalltown. Chris Clover and his team. Full of great Cyclones. And it's a great spot to go work if you're a college grad that's looking for your first job, or you're looking for something else. If you've been in the workforce for a while, Mechdyne would be a great place to go and check out. Well, The Cyclones have made it 5 wins in a row in both the men's and women's sports. So pretty impressive so far. We'll start with the men. 3-point win over Baylor. I was there. You watched on TV, right, Blum?
Yeah, I was not there. Did not make it up.
I guess just initial takeaways from kind of a weird Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, well, I first of all, give Baylor some credit, especially in the first half. I thought Cam Carr was a elite player. That guy was really good. Some of the shots he was making is just like, congratulations, Cam. And then Iowa State showed what it is for literally 17 minutes in that second half and played really well. Now, it got screwy late, and is it concerning? I mean, mildly. Iowa State did not handle pressure well in the last 3, but I think the bigger takeaway, how about Hassan Ward being there? That's really cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
The bigger takeaway was Iowa State found a way to win with, the 3 ball not going in at a super high rate. And, you take it. You're not everything's going to be pretty. Iowa State did not play as well as it has, but I thought defensively it was really good in the second half and just did enough. You kind of saw, in my opinion, Jake, Joshua struggled a little bit in that first half of, turn the ball over a little bit much, but between Iowa State's manufactured offense with Milan, which we'll get into, and then it was a Tamin special again. I mean, that one play when he's diving on the floor at half court, like literally putting his body on the line when Iowa State was up like 12, was vintage Tamin, and we're gonna miss that. Like, it's how many more home games for that guy? I mean, he is
4. He is
a legend. He has become. I mean, there's no doubt. We talk about the rafter conversation. You're gonna have Lipsey in the rafters for sure, based on everything here. And man, it was just a neat moment for Tamin. But keep on keeping on. 21-2, best start ever. Not the prettiest thing, but you know what? I'm not complaining about being 8-2 in the Big 12.
The Tamin conversation's an interesting one because, like, you try and decipher how many times was he the best player on an Iowa State team. You could argue 3. You could argue 0.
Right.
You could argue.
Yeah.
I would say that his sophomore year, I think he was absolutely Iowa State's best, most consistent player. But last year, I mean, how do you go with anyone other than Curtis Jones? With what he did. And this year, Milan and Joshua Jefferson are also both in first-team All-American conversations. But yet, if you're telling me you've got to retire one jersey of a guy that's there right now, it's Tamin Lipsey. And I think yesterday is the perfect example as to why.
The one possession, and it didn't end up resulting in points, where he misses the free throw, gets the offensive rebound, then Milan misses a wide. Like I was convinced that was going in, but then Tamin chases it down. He was the furthest away from the ball. Like those are what the staff calls Tamin plays. Like nobody else makes that. Nobody else it's unbelievable the effort that guy plays with, and he's doing it with a body that's, obviously not 100%, and it scares you to death every time he dives on the floor, but he keeps doing it. And the amazing thing is, Jake, when you go to practice, it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. So there's and they said it on the TV broadcast, I thought it was really, really well done yesterday. When your best player, arguably, again, we just had that conversation, is giving that max effort every single day, guess what it's teaching? Killian Torre and Jamarian Bateman, how do you play? And then what happens when those guys are the leaders next year? Like, there are so many ripples of what Tamin does on a daily basis beyond the court that just adds into this incredible legacy. And I'm telling you, there's never been another player like him at Iowa State. I don't think there will be going forward. And I'm going to enjoy the heck out of his last 6 weeks in an Iowa State uniform. And it's games like that where things aren't going great, but he just refused to let Iowa State lose at Hilton. And I think it'd be the coolest thing for his legacy if Iowa State goes undefeated at home this year.
I'd want nothing more.
Yeah, I mean, I think just for that kid. I mean, on all of it. Like, Iowa State's got a bunch of great dudes. Don't get me wrong. But what his story, I mean, it's a top 5 all-time Iowa State story if you consider all of the history with Tamin Lipsey. And I'm glad, again, we had a half like that we could celebrate. Again, got a little dicey late, but I take that more of, just some silly, dumb things, less Iowa State had some sort of issue there.
I'll have to go play. Maybe we'll both do this. We'll have to play a round of golf with Tamin once it's all said and done, and just, that guy's going to have stories to tell forever, and we can't let a doctor come with because he'll be concerned for his life after he explains every injury that he's gone through. But you think about his journey to like 8th grade. I knew about that kid as a 7th grader because of what he was accomplishing on the AAU circuit. He's my brother's age, so he dunked in a middle school game.
I remember when his dad was posting clips of his track times.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah, so you have all of that. I remember, I wasn't following high school recruiting that close when I was that age, but I remember talks of like, man, I really hope this guy doesn't go to Duke because, of course, you're not that far removed from the Harrison Barnes stuff. And you always hear about him. You hear about him, tears his ACL. And his recruiting rankings take a hit. He's not a 3-star player. There's no way Tamin Lipsey's a 3-star player, but you tear your ACL, miss your entire junior year, which is the most important year for recruiting. You have a great senior year, win Mr. Basketball, but you look at his counting stats, they're not incredible. Yeah. No. He leads Ames to a state title, but it's just a perfect example of, I guess, what you were going to get out of Tamin Lipsey. And then he commits to TJ Otzelberger when Iowa State hadn't won a Big 12 game in over a year.
He was recruit 1. Like, it was week 1, wasn't it?
It was day 3.
Day three. There we go. Of the TJ era. I remember that like it was yesterday.
And I'd love to pick his brain on, like, what if it wasn't Otzelberger who got the job? What if Prohm stayed another year? Was Tamin going to go play for Fred Hoiberg in Nebraska? Like, it's a
Very
crazy
possible,
thing for him to have that leap of faith on literally day 1, where it took 1 or 2 phone calls from Otzelberger and said, I want to be a Cyclone. And his legacy will always be, like, this is the Otzelberger era, but hopefully when we look back in 25 years, you're going to have different chapters of the Otzelberger era, and this chapter 1 will be, the sub-chapter will be the Tamin Lipsey era.
They're married together. I mean, if you think about it, it's so cool because a couple things happen even after Tamin committed. So he commits, right? But then you had Tyrese Hunter on the roster, and Tyrese wins Freshman of the Year, and you're thinking, oh man, well, Tamin was fully anticipating redshirting his freshman year. But then a couple things happen. Obviously, Tyrese goes to Texas for 700,000 reasons. So, and now you're like, okay, well, we got this freshman who we don't really know. Let's bring in a veteran guy. You remember Iowa State brought in Jeremiah Williams, who then proceeds in practice, who was playing great, by the way, in practice, to tear his Achilles at the time?
Yeah, it was an Achilles.
And now you're like, I remember, because I was it was month 2 of me running the collective at the time. And we had a board meeting with some big donors and TJ. It was the same day Williams got hurt, and TJ was like, man, it's going to be a long year. He's like, I have no idea what we have. Like, we got Jaron Holmes, and he's a nice player, and, Schoon's battling a back injury, and we're going to have to play. We're going to have to roll Tamin Lipsey out there, and we have no idea. And then they couldn't keep him off the floor. Like, he was not supposed to make an impact. So he does 2 things. He actually produces big minutes. I'm telling you, if that first year without Tyrese Hunter goes the wrong way, you could be up against it. You really could, because if that team does not make the tournament and it was really close to not, you could have lost a lot of momentum with, oh, well, we're not going to play well in this new era because we just lost our best player to Texas, and what are we going to be? But because you did well enough, you're able to find enough dollars to get a Keyshawn, to get a Curtis Jones, and get an Hassan Ward, and then Tamin upped his game his sophomore year. You're dead on. That sophomore year, Tamin was unbelievable. And it's fun to track how his career has elevated along with this program and along with TJ. So now I think when you think of TJ Otzelberger, it's Tamin's right there. they're hand in hand of how this thing is built. And now, shoot, Jake, a local Ames kid leading Iowa State in the top 5 at 21-2, a guy that grew up watching Monte Morris. Like, there are so many neat things here that you kind of take it for granted because you've known Tamin since he was in 7th grade. But man, it's gonna make it's a fascinating journey, and he's right up there. I always thought it'd be hard, to have the story of a Fred Hoiberg or even a George Niang with how beloved he came. I think Tamin's right there with those two as far as just stories, really cool stories of Iowa State, and it's what college athletics is all about. And I'm telling you, I mean, that guy had chances to leave too, by the way. He did. I was in the middle of it. But, never really a huge concern, and Tamin, Tamin bleeds Cardinal and gold, and he's a rare breed in this day of college athletics, and I think that should be celebrated even more.
He's the first Cyclone that will expend all of his eligibility as a Cyclone.
It's crazy.
Since Matt Thomas and Monte Morris.
That's crazy.
As long. So George Condit played 4. He had a 5th year if he wanted.
He went professional.
Same goes for Solomon Young. I believe he was a 5-year guy, and he had a 6th if he wanted.
He did, because he had the COVID year.
Yep, and he also didn't use it. So those guys were, of course, 4-year Cyclones, and they deserve all the credit for it. But there hasn't been a player since Matt Thomas, Naslong, Monte Morris that have left a Cyclone and truly, completely left it all out there and had nothing left to give.
Yeah, and I'm on enough time has passed now, so I can tell this. But this is the type of guy Tamin is. So, end of sophomore year, so that he obviously had a great year. So priorities for the collective was keeping Tamin, Keyshawn, Curtis, and Milan. And so I met with those 4 guys, and they basically said, "Hey, Blum, we want a big guy because we feel like our guards are going to be good." So 100% this happened. They came to me and they're like, "We all want to make the same, and we all could get more elsewhere. We all want the same, but we want to take whatever extra we have and go find some bigs to come in and help." Guess what that meant? Joshua Jefferson came in, and Deshaun Jackson too. But those guys each sacrificed. Tamin could have made, way more, but he has stayed here because he never wanted to entertain it elsewhere. And because of that leadership, Jake, it led to other guys taking less. And that has continued in this era. And then the really neat part is he's now teaching Torrey and Bateman what it's like to be a Cyclone, how to be beloved by the fan base. And then hopefully that legacy continues on to those guys. So, there are so many things about college athletics that are gross right now, but he is everything that is right with college athletics. And I'm just grateful for Tamin. The family is amazing. And that kid's got a special place in my heart, and I will always be a Tamin fan, and I'm going to enjoy, but also be sad when Tamin plays his senior day.
His teammate Milan Momcilovic echoes pretty much everything you just said, Blum.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see that. Obviously, his 4 years are coming to end, but he's one of the greatest Cyclones of all time. I think the fans think, and we all know. But it's been a pleasure to play with him. He's found me on so many shots, and he's got me so many shots. So that's all credit to him, and just all the little things he does. He's just a great winner, and at the end of the day, he makes winning plays. So, he's just one hell of a player.
That's Milan Momcilovic talking about his teammate, and I sensed it yesterday. He had like 3 loose balls that he dove for in a 2 or 3 minute stretch, gets taken out of the game, and he got a standing ovation like he was leaving the game for the last time. Everyone knew he was still going to come back in, but that's what it should be like at this point. Anytime he checks out of the game, it should be a standing ovation, because the one that he gets against Arizona State, it won't be enough. Like, it could go for 10 minutes, and it won't be enough, so you can build up some of that equity in these next 3 games, because that's going to be an emotional night. And
yeah, Yang, that was an awesome night, and then obviously Iowa State struggled that night, if you remember early, because we're all crying. But I just whatever you say about Tamin, you can't say enough. Like, it's as simple as that, and I'm just very grateful for him. And man, I'm gonna enjoy the heck out of him. And the neat part, he just is who he says he is. He doesn't say a lot, but he leads by example. And I just think there's a lot that that we all can learn from that.
No, absolutely. That's
Now I
that's
do
a lot of good stuff.
The only thing Tamin struggled with is he stepped in it with his lovely wife, which and again I'm not trying to create a dispute here, but this came to light here yesterday on the promo of the broadcast. If you have that clip,
Yeah, let me go and look for it quick.
so here, let me back up. So if you're at the game, the guys on ESPN played a clip of Tamin at Big 12 Media Day, and it was a trap question. They asked Tamin, what was their favorite part of the summer, and Tamin's like, well, I like golfing with the guys, and Tamin's a legit golfer. Like, he's like a 7 or 8 handicap, by the way. And then the interviewer said, "Are you sure that was your favorite memory? What would your wife think about that?" And he goes, "Oh no." So he's like, "Yeah, my favorite memory is actually getting married to my wife this summer," and he rescued the question pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm getting it pulled up right now. It's a pretty good. I mean, good on the interviewer to
catch him like that.
Yeah, to correct him. And all right, here it is.
So this is his wife's TikTok, right?
Yes. I don't know how well you can hear it. If you can hear it at all.
You can.
To re-answer that question, got married. Amazing wedding. Hopefully she doesn't.
That's awesome.
Oh, well,
gotta love it.
Good thing. The team's hitting the road in a couple days.
Yeah, we all go through it, Tamin, buddy. I hear you.
So you talk about Lipsey doing all that he can to will the team to a win. I thought in a similar way, in a similar but yet very different ways, Milan Momcilovic did the same, because he missed a couple threes that were in rhythm that he's almost always going to hit.
Yep.
And for whatever reason on Saturday afternoon, they weren't falling, but he still finds a way to get to 21 points, lead the team in scoring, gets to the free throw line 7 different times. Like that's about as impressive of a Momcilovic performance as I've seen this year, because he wasn't doing his best thing as well as he normally does.
Yeah, I was going to look, and I will here. I believe in the first time in his career that he has scored 20 or more with 2 or less threes.
Wow.
And that is grown-up stuff right there. I mean, that is sophisticated scoring. It gives me a lot of confidence of, when things aren't going well, we can design stuff to get. I thought the play calling early that first half when Iowa State was really sluggish. It was like, all right, 3 balls not going. I thought Baylor had some length at the rim, but Iowa State did a nice job of almost using Milan in that Niang role of let's post him up against a smaller guard, let him go to work and at least get fouled. And it actually gave me a lot of hope, because again, Iowa State didn't play great, but when you get in the tournament, Big 12 and the NCAA, there's going to be games where it's hard because you're playing really athletic, long teams, and how do you find points in those situations? And Milan's ability to get to the free throw line is massive. Obviously, he's a 90% free throw shooter, but he's gotten so much stronger in there. His freshman year, like if you go watch the Houston game when he made the game winner, okay, that was a great shot, but he got pushed all the way to the three-point line there. Right, his base has gotten so much stronger. Kudos to Pete Lincoln, that strength staff, that now he can really anchor in there, Jake, as a post. And that is really hard to defend, because you can't put length on him all the time, because those guys don't like going all the way out to the three-point line. So you put a guard on him to get up in his space. Well, now Milan is kind of, he flips the hips and just posts him up. And if he starts doing that work in the paint and his touch is really good in there, he becomes really hard to guard. I mean, he already is, because he can make everything, but now he's almost impossible. And to get 21 points on only 11 shots and only 2 of 6 from 3, I'm telling you, that is, you obviously want to make all the threes, but that told me a lot more about his growth than him going 6 for 6 against Cincinnati or something.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. If that's his baseline,
that's it.
If that's the baseline, what's next? Like if he hits 5 threes against Kansas, what does that mean?
And it's, hopefully we want that to happen. And that's the great thing is you can find now ways. And Iowa State offensively was not very good yesterday, but they found ways to get points. And that was, they didn't turn them over a bunch. I mean, how many turnovers did Baylor have? Again, kudos to Baylor.
It wasn't a lot. It
well, 10
it
or
wasn't
11.
as much as you'd think. I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah,
and
it
yet-
was 9.
9.
turnovers.
See, if you tell me Baylor's going on 9, oh boy, like that, this could be dicey here.
9
because that would-
turnovers, hit 11 threes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that Baylor did really well, and so I think you can get nervous, like, oh, you only beat those guys by 3. That team was playing a lot better, and they didn't turn it over. They did a nice job, but that tells me about Iowa State. All right, if our A game's not working, how do we manufacture points? Let's get the ball to Milan. Tamin's going to make Tamin plays, and then I thought Joshua's second half was much better, a lot more physical. Kind of took it right at Baylor, and Iowa State found counters. And when you're playing really good teams, and I think you're going to see Baylor over the next 2 weeks win some games here. I mean, that's a team that's getting a lot better. When you play good teams, you're going to need B and C moves, and I think Iowa State showed that they can at least try something else, which is better than it was against Cincinnati.
Let's hear TJ Otzelberger talking about Momcilovic finding a way to get to 21. You mentioned him being guarded by smaller guards in the post and not getting moved. I think I've got a clip in here overlaying it, and you'll see just how hard it is to move Milan right now.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's great to be Milan and make 2 threes and go 2 for 6 and look at it like he was 0 for 7, right? Like that's the standard that he set. So I love how he continues to attack the rim, attack the closeout. I love the drive in the second half with his left hand, the layup and finish. Some of his cuts that he's making off the ball, getting to the free throw line continuously. I mean, finding ways to the line with a shot fake and creating space. So, again, I know he's created such a high standard in terms of what we expect from him. But I thought he had a great floor game. I thought overall, I was really pleased with how Milan played today.
Yeah, it was that last clip right there. just
a bully.
Just getting pulled.
Yeah.
Still no foul.
I mean, they kind of let him roll yesterday for a good portion of that game. Except when Scott Drew got tapped. Between the timeouts and the tee from Scott Drew was very vintage there early. I felt like I was in the olden days, which was nice.
I wish you could place a prop bet at Circus Sports Iowa on a coach to get a technical. I would bet my paycheck at the under 16 that Scott Drew is going to get a technical. That he was working the refs immediately.
He wanted one. Yeah, it was like, all right, we're in it. In fact, Circa, if you're listening, can we get a Bill Self tee or not for next Saturday? That's a Bill Self special, Jake.
He's the best at it.
First 10 minutes, he's going to get one. You clip this for me, okay? Mark this down. Bill Self will get a tee in the first half against Iowa State to try and change the course of that thing. Just keep an eye on it. But no, I mean, Milan's ability is just he's still getting better. And I think, the more I hear, the more growth he shows. Unfortunately, it's probably the less chance he's going to be back because he's climbing up the draft boards. But again, that's part of the trade-off, and Iowa State is still playing really good basketball, even if the final score didn't indicate it.
So we talk about the Tamin Lipsey chapter. There's also a subchapter of the Milan Momcilovic era, especially when you look at the on-off stats. And there is a world where if Momcilovic came back, how many records he would own. If you're Milan, the decision it's quite simple. It's not an easy decision, but he's not going to do much as a senior in college to improve his draft stock. But what he can do is get a good paycheck and still probably hold similar draft position the next year.
Fair.
Own a lot of records.
A
lot of records. He would own, almost certainly, if he came back, he would be Iowa State's all-time wins leader as a player. And that means something. Right now, Lipsey he passed George Niang yesterday. Lipsey's at 89, I believe.
Okay.
And Monte is at 100. This is for games started, so it doesn't factor in games you were injured for. So you'd have to think that if Momcilovic came back next year, they'd win more than whatever it was. 19 games is what they won in Tamin's freshman year, or 22 or something like that. So
got it.
That's the decision for Milan. That's not a decision for now, but he's also a massive, massive part of this first iteration of the Otzelberger era.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I think, if you look at, and that's fun, because you got to throw Curtis and Keyshawn. By the way, congrats to Keyshawn. I know
Yeah,
last year
4
didn't end the
points.
best for him, but he's in the NBA. Put him on the wall. Put him on the NBA wall at the Souk Up complex. Great for him. No, you're right, and that's the fun part now. And you lose sight of it because it feels like TJ's still young. He's now been. This is what, year 5 for TJ,
Yep.
Jake. He's now been here longer than Tim Floyd was at Iowa State, and the same year 5 is the length of Larry Stacey's tenure at Iowa State.
Wow.
And then Fred ended up at 6 years. So, like that, there's stuff like there. TJ is 100% in the argument for best coach ever too, and it feels like he just got here. But yeah, so I think they're all connected. Milan's growth is a credit to him, number one, because he's put in the work, but also I think says a lot about Iowa State's skill development. Even how think about better Tamin's gotten offensively. Joshua Jefferson's gotten better offensively. There is, and that's why for a Torrey and a Bateman, and those guys are getting better by the day. And even Nate Heise's 2 threes in the first half were huge because it just cracked the door open when Iowa State was really struggling. I think really he's the glue, man. Like you need Nate Heise, and they told the story of him and his older sister, which is really cool. And Nate's the best. Like he really is, and I'm buying that shirt right when we get off right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear that thing proudly.
Nate Heise he's an all-timer for me. And it all started with, obviously I watched a lot of UNI basketball over the years. So
Sure.
CycloneFanaticShop.com to get your Nate Heise glue t-shirt.
Yeah, adult and youth sizes. Collect them all.
But it was that game against Marquette last year. Watching him put Cam Jones in a prison for the second half of that game was some of the most beautiful basketball that I've ever watched. And you can't look at a box score and be like, "Oh, Heise had a great night." But
That's the thing.
They wouldn't have
You miss
beat
him.
Marquette that night without Nate Heise, and ever since then, he's just been a favorite of mine, and his impact on this team goes way beyond the stat sheet.
No doubt. I mean, that's the thing with Nate and Tamin, Joshua. They're all fairly similar, and they're pretty quiet guys. Like they really are, but they work.
Not Milan. He's
Milan, he's talking,
Yeah.
all the time. But they just kind of lead by example, and I think that's what leads to things down the road. I mean, let me share the good a guy Nate is. So helped with that T-shirt, and again, helps Nate, helps Cyclone Fanatic, helps Graphics U, great local Perry company. But he was one of the only athletes that wrote back to us, "Thank you for thinking of me for a T-shirt. That really means a lot to me that you guys would do that." It's like, no, Nate, thank you for being a Cyclone. So he was just super appreciative to even have us make a T-shirt for him, and that's he's just a world-class guy and a cool family. And again, anytime he does something good, I like celebrating it because he went through a really hard time last year during conference play.
That's hard.
He didn't. I mean, he went like 6 games without making a shot, and I was at a function with him this summer. It was at a leadership conference type deal. It's like, what's the hardest thing? He's like, when I went through a slump, I questioned everything. Like, I didn't know if I was good enough to play at this level. He's like, but it was my teammates and my coaches who believed in me that turned me around. And then he had that really hot February and March, and I hope he can unlock so many things for Iowa State. And when he and Bateman both hit a shot in the first half, they don't need to make a lot of them. They just need to make them at the right time. And I thought those threes were huge yesterday.
It's crazy because I'm thinking back to that now. I felt so bad for him in those press conferences because he knew what the answer was. It was just, I got to make shots.
I got to make shots.
But you could sense that
see it
the
on his
confidence.
face. Yeah.
You could sense the confidence wasn't there. I haven't felt that at all this year. Like,
no.
He went through that cold stretch before the K-State game where I think he'd only made 1 or 2 in the last 5 games or so. But I never doubted that confidence. So that's why we could all sense, yeah, this is coming. It might be against K-State, it might be against Baylor, it might be further down the road, but he's going to start hitting shots. And right now, he's playing as well as anybody on the team.
Yeah, and you're going to need him to just step into it with confidence, though, because there's going to be a game that's, and like you saw a little bit, when things aren't easy. And somebody's going to need to knock down a shot to take the lid off. And that's why Bateman and Heise both off the bench are huge factors because, again, it's not necessarily the mount, but it's the timing because it's a pressure release for those big three then. When those guys are making plays, and even I'll put Torres 3-point shooting in the same mix, I think you'd be amazed if you look at amount of threes made by non-Milan, Joshua, Tamin, and what that does to the Iowa State offense points per possession. I bet it's a huge difference just because it just seems to open up the entire floor where those guys think, oh, all right, these guys are helping us out. We're good now. And Nate's always going to bring it defensively, but to get him to knock down some shots as well, there's going to be times in March it's going to be hard to keep him off the floor. It really is. And it's just nice to have that option of a guy that can rebound, he can defend, he can knock down an open shot. He's not going to hurt you out there. And I think he's going to play a lot of minutes going forward.
Speaking of March, guess the national championship odds, courtesy of our partner and friend Circa Sports.
Oh, you're playing my game for Iowa State?
Yes, for Iowa State.
To win it?
To win the national championship, you can guess the number and then guess, I guess, what they're
ranking,
what they're ranked.
Yeah, I'll say Iowa State's 7th best odds, and let's go, Jacob, 15-1.
Did you look at that?
I did
not.
Nope.
Iowa State has the 7th best odds at 15-1. Like, you just hit that nail on the head.
Thank you.
Go to Circa Sports, I guess. You're a prophecy.
Well, now we gotta make it happen. If I knew that, Jake, and I knew that with everything, I would not be living 5 doors down from Chris Williams and Bonnie. I'd have a place in the Keys.
Good point. Iowa State's currently behind Arizona, Michigan, Duke, Houston, Illinois, and Florida. Which Florida's a team to keep an eye on. If there's a 3 seed that I want no piece of, it's Florida.
No mas.
They don't have guards, but their bigs are so good.
They've underperformed all year. I mean, I agree with them. Their KenPom numbers are really good. When they turn it on, they're as good as anybody.
Interesting. Iowa State moved ahead of UConn in the odds, and to me that backs the eye test. I could be wrong, but I don't know. That they're probably still a 1 seed in Joey Brackett's bracketology, but the fact that they're 8th in national championship odds, that backs up what I guess I've seen on the TV.
Yeah, and they're almost like a half guy short, UConn.
Yeah,
they just seem like they need one more guy. Solo Ball's a nice player. The Reed kid inside is a nice player. Obviously, Carabin's really good, but huge last 3 days for Iowa State in regards to the 1 seed. I mean, massive weekend in a good way. UConn loses. Not only does it loses to St. John's, a team Iowa State beat. So when you play the comp game, that's big. You have Illinois lose to Michigan State. Illinois was as hot as anybody. Michigan State loses to Minnesota, so they're going to be kind of out of the 1 seed conversation now. But Illinois drops, so that really helps the cause. Gonzaga took themselves out of the 1 seed conversation and the 2 seed conversation, honestly, by losing to Portland on Thursday night. And the only negative was Houston going on the road and beating BYU. Houston is going to jump Iowa State, I think, in a lot of this bracketology stuff this week, Jake. The equalizer here, though, is they play each other in Hilton. So that game will determine who gets the tiebreaker for the 1 or the 2 seed. But Houston has entered the chat for a 1 seed conversation as well now.
I was watching the Houston BYU game with some friends last night, and they asked me who we should be cheering for as Cyclone fans. And I said BYU on the surface, and I thought about it a little more, and I'm thinking of the most nightmare scenario possible. And
as we do.
As we do.
Yeah.
And my nightmare scenario is Iowa State's a 2 seed, and Houston drops a few games. They're a 3 seed, you get matched up in the same region. And I'm like, so if in the sickest twist of heart.
That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick, man.
But no, that's totally off topic. You mentioned moving to the Keys. Could Andrew Chaplin help you do that?
I think
I know his territory is Ames, Story County, Ankeny.
The thing with Chappie is, even if he can't, I don't know how the real estate licensure works as far as other states and certifications and all that jazz, but I do know Chappie would help you out to find you something just because he's a good dude.
And he probably knows someone down there that could point you in the right direction.
And Chappie, not only would he point you in the right direction, he'd probably come down there and have a beer with you in the Keys. I mean, that's what I want from my realtor.
Andrew Chaplin with Hunziker Realty. Hit up Chappie for all of your real estate needs. I'd also like to thank Jeff Kelderman. He brings us the beat reporters every Thursday, and he's just a great
show,
dude.
by the way. I've been really enjoying your guys' stuff lately. Well done.
Not to get political in what's in any way, but there's a second halftime show going on tonight, and I'm guessing it's all of Kelderman's buddies. Kid Rock is there. Would be shocked if Aaron Lewis is there.
What is Kid Rock's real name? Bob?
I don't know.
I think it's Bob.
But yeah, Kelderman's a great dude. I think Williams is going to try and convince him to go to Tucson. I think. Oh. I don't know if that'll be able to happen or not, but Kelderman down in the.
You're going, right?
I am going. I switched. My best friend lives in Phoenix, and I haven't visited him since he moved out there. So back in September, I booked this trip. I'm like, I'm gonna go mini vacation, work while I'm there, but I'm gonna stay a few extra days. Before I even knew Arizona was gonna be this, I thought they'd be good. I didn't think they'd be this. Now the game is so big that Williams is like, well, I gotta go. Cooper's gonna go. So I was going to
gotta be there. Yeah.
I was going to stay in Phoenix on Sunday night and just drive down to Tucson and rent a car. I switched those plans. I'm going to Tucson with C-Dub and Cooper Sunday, and we're going to have a fun night there, and then I'll stay in Phoenix for a couple days after the game.
I might just have to make a trip.
You have to. We got an Airbnb. I think we have a 4-bedroom Airbnb. So we got an extra bed
the great thing about
cheap flight,
direct, and the great thing about being, on the shorter end of the spectrum is I take up small space. So even a couch would work for me, Jake. Well, I'm getting older now, so the back starts to go a little bit. But yeah,
I would imagine that would be okay with C-Dub. I probably shouldn't invite you on C-Dub's behalf, but
he knows he knows I'll help out. I'll help out the cause. I don't know if I get a ticket. Tickets are really expensive down there right now. How many media passes could Fanatic get? Do you think we're taking the whole crew to Arizona?
I'm guessing Cooper's going to get a ticket, but who knows?
Yeah,
maybe
you can stay with Coop. Yeah.
So we've got
Arizona is a wagon right now, by the way.
Oh
Holy
my gosh!
Smokes.
So let's get into the Wiffles Hybrid Big 12 segment in just a second. But first, we've got a bit of breaking news. Iowa State Gymnastics cancels the rest of the season. I'm not sure if you saw this.
I did.
They just put out a release, so I don't know a ton about this, but I know they had been struggling with numbers, I want to say, as far as just participation on the team. So I would guess it probably has to do with that, but certainly we'll keep that whole program in our thoughts. I know no one would ever want to cancel a season, so that's a tough call.
Yeah, and I think that coach is in year 3. Year 1 was pretty good. I don't know enough, and to be candid, the NR world did not touch gymnastics at all. So I don't really know anybody with that program, but obviously not a great headline you want to see on a Sunday.
Yeah, well,
we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we'll do some digging for CF, but thought we should bring that up. But now let's hit up the Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment.
When you plant Wiffles Hybrids, you're making a statement that independence and family-owned means something on your farm. So make your choice. Plant your independence. Plant Wiffles.
Well, we were joking before we started recording. We started recording at halftime of the Texas Tech-West Virginia game, and Tech was up 12 at half, and we're talking a little bit about how sometimes their defense decides to not show up on the road against mediocre teams. And Blum, you said West Virginia will probably start the half on a 10-0 run. I was following a little bit, 8-0 run, but Tech has pulled away again. They're up 10, 7 minutes to go. So we won't talk too much about that game to avoid dating it.
Yeah, interesting. That's Tech for you, though. They're really good. They're like a little bit not quite as good as Florida, in my opinion. It's a team that they are a live wire 4 or 5 seed right now. Don't want them.
Yeah.
Stay away.
They can beat anybody, and they can lose to anybody.
They can lose anybody, yeah. And then, interesting, just real quick, because we haven't really brought this up, although we might as well right now. TCU is an odd group.
I got no read on them.
I am confused as heck about TCU. I mean, they go get the doors blown off. against a bad Colorado team, and they let K-State score 82 with like 5 guys yesterday. And again, I know road games are hard, but shoot, if Iowa State wants to be in this Big 12 championship conversation and the 1-seed conversation, even the 2-seed conversation, Jake, really important game. Really important game to not, you cannot have a, TCU is good enough offensively, has enough guys that you can't just hope to turn it on. I think they're very similar to Cincinnati in that regard. So just don't let them hit a bunch of shots early, and I think Iowa State could. If things go well, you should win this by double digits. But they are tricky enough. They only lost to Michigan at home by 3.
Yeah.
Now, that was November, but it's an odd group. And obviously the most notable name that will be recognizable for those of you in the state of Iowa is Brock Harding's the point guard, former Iowa point guard, who's actually had a nice year. But they're not big. They do rebound okay. They don't shoot it great. It's a game that if you don't turn it over, I think Iowa State should win by double figures.
As of now, Ken Palm has it around an 8-point spread, and they're how I would describe them is they're kind of identityless. Like they just
I don't know what they do well.
They don't have an identity. They have one of the weirdest resumes of anybody in college basketball.
It's very strange
because they opened the year. It was the same night Iowa State opened the year with Fairleigh Dickinson, I believe, and they lost to New Orleans at home.
That's right.
And then they turn around. They hang there with Michigan before we knew Michigan was good, or before we knew they were this good. I'm like, oh, that's weird. They're competing. They beat Florida. They kill Wisconsin.
That's right.
They get hot. They beat Baylor twice in Big 12 play, but then they seem to turn a corner. They play Houston pretty well at home, and then get destroyed by Colorado. Get down 20 to K-State yesterday. Come back and win that game. I got no read on them. And this, to me, feels kind of what TCU's been like almost the entirety of the Jamie Dixon era.
Totally. Did that 1 year, right, with the big fella when they...
Eddie Lampkin.
Did they make a Sweet 16? Or they were going to beat... They had Arizona on the ropes, maybe? I don't know.
They should have.
They should have, yeah.
But
you're right.
Mike Miles.
Mike Miles, yeah. Man, they're an odd group. It's an odd group, which doesn't make me... It leaves you a little nervous because... teams like that, when it clicks, it can be really good. I mean, look who they've defeated. But right now, I don't know. I don't know what they're bringing to the table. So I'm 100% always nervous as an Iowa State fan. But matchup wise, I think Iowa State is obviously considerably better, 1-8.
Like you said, it's a game you gotta win if you want to accomplish all that's out in front of you right now.
Yeah, and again, it's not like the season's going to be over. But you if you lose to TCU, you're not winning the Big 12. Okay, that's done. And then your 1-seed chances, you basically have to win out then.
Yeah.
With a loss to TCU. Now on TCU's end, they're looking for another signature win because of their wins over Florida and Wisconsin, and Baylor twice. They have a resume that if they get one more marquee win, they're probably in. So, like, that's the thing is we can say they're kind of directionless and they're like, what are these guys? But yet they're still a borderline NCAA tournament team. I mean, they're 55 in the net, I think. Ken Palm, they're like 52. So they're right around it. It's just not a game you want them to hang around and give them some belief.
So it's a worrisome game. Well,
it just kind of gives you the heebie-jeebies if there's an analysis for it.
When's Chris coming back? I should know this.
I just saw him. I think he said Thursday evening.
So am I doing the show with you Wednesday as well? Then I'm guessing.
Let's do it. I mean, if you,
we won't even ask. We won't run it by him. We'll just do it. I'm the chief content producer.
You can decide these things.
Chris is just an author now.
What time? What time is the game on Tuesday? It's a Tuesday start.
Yeah, I believe it's an 8:00 tip. Let me pull that up. 9 p.m. I'm guessing my Ken Palm is stuck in the Eastern time zone, so I'm going to guess that's an 8:00 tip.
And let me find.
Yep, 8:00 FS1.
FS1. Okay.
You can get in the door for as low as $32 for our Dallas-Fort Worth Cyclones, one of the proudest alumni groups in the country.
Whatever, guy Barry Peterson's going to be there. Hope you're there, Barry. Hope all is well.
I would be stunned if Barry Peterson wasn't making the trip.
Okay, yeah, see, we got some proud Dallas alumni down there.
BYU is weird. like really weird. I don't know if we were talking about this or who I was talking. They're more talented this year than they have been in the past. But when you're talking about it in Iowa State terms, Iowa State matches up a lot better with them now than they used to. Like this, I think BYU's problems can all be tied back right now to playing too much ISO ball. And on bigger than 12, I likened it a little bit to what Iowa State was going through in their rut with Joshua Jefferson trying to do too much, and it wasn't getting the role players involved. I think that's what's happening right now with BYU, where it feels like half their possessions are just one-on-one, AJ, go make a play, and it's not working right now because they've lost 4 in a row, 5 of the last 6.
Dead on. And I think they're right there with Arizona and Iowa State with as the most talented Big 12 team. They're in no world should they be near 500. And it's just, and I think he's a good coach. This is the problem though, when you put, and I don't blame AJ specifically here, but when you have an alpha that is clearly the alpha and you got other good players, sometimes it's hard to put it all together because, that guy still wants to get his numbers and he's really good. So he should. But then also, how does that impact Saunders? And even, man, the right kid just feels like a round peg in a square hole or whatever the phrase is there. Like, I think he's a nice player. I think they're better off if they would have kept Dallin Hall.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And that guy annoyed the heck out of me, but he did all the dirty work. Hall was their Nate Heise. That's the thing with BYU. They don't have a Nate Heise. Like, you need a guy.
Great way to put it.
They need a guy to just be the enforcer, just do the dirty work, and they have a bunch of glamour guys. I think that's the problem, and I like Keita, the big guy. He's had a weird year. I mean,
he got pushed around, which it's Houston. Like you're comparing it to the toughest team, but he got pushed around by Houston on Saturday night.
Well, then they brought in the G League kid. Was Abdullah or whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's done nothing.
He doesn't done it. Like it's just an odd group. I agree. I think last year's BYU team at least moved the ball better. So they got two things. They're more talented than they were a year ago, but they're not moving it as well. And I think that lack of ball movement has impacted the bigs too, because they just kind of feel like, well, we're here to set screens, and yeah, they don't do the hard stuff. But the hardest, you can't manufacture talent, you can manufacture work ethic. And so it's one of those deals where if they flip that switch, they're still very dangerous. And
100%.
And that's why I'm not writing them off yet. It's another one of those teams when it turns on, if they get guys to play hard every single minute, that's a team that can make a huge run and I think is as talented. I really do. I think BYU's as talented as anybody in the conference.
Well, and AJ DeBance is going to be a top 2 pick in the NBA draft. And right now, I wouldn't even necessarily say he's in a rut because he's putting up numbers and he's playing at a high level.
Yep.
But he's going to figure out more how to make the team better. And I would highly anticipate that they've got things sorted out by the time Iowa State comes to town, which seems like Iowa State's catching them at the wrong time. I'd love to go play them on Tuesday.
Yeah, I will play them right now.
But yeah, it's Kennard Davis doesn't do much. It's a weird team, and that's what happens when you throw a bunch of money at one player. It can be tougher to fill out a bench, tougher to fill out your 4 and your 5.
Dead on. And what Kansas has figured out is what BYU hasn't yet, is to how to play around Peterson.
Yeah,
BYU hasn't, and I think the Saunders DeBansa thing is just weird. It's just, I don't know if there's any drama behind the scenes. I have no idea, but it just feels like you got two guys who want the ball all the time, and then even my guy Wright. I think Wright thinks he's the best player on the team sometimes. He wants the ball, and it's like, dude, no, can you just be a guard? Just be a point guard, set the table. They're just an odd configuration, but I say that fully knowing that when it turns on for them, they're going to be really hard to beat. I really believe so.
And all I could think about watching that game was how unfair is it that Houston loses one of the best players they've ever had in Juwan Roberts. They lose LJ Cryer. And they replace him with not only 2 5-star freshmen, but 2 5-star freshmen that play Houston basketball and understand it. And I'm not going to start the campaign But if there was a campaign right now for Kingston Flemings to win Big 12 Player of the Year, you'd at least have to entertain it. That guy
No doubt.
is remarkable, and that's a good Houston team.
He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's almost egoless a lot of ways. Like, he just does everything really well, and he lulls you to sleep. You don't realize how big he is. I mean, you watch him on TV, he's like, oh, that guy's like 6'6", 6'1". No, he's like 6'5" with length. He's really good. His shot's a little bit wonky, but it goes in, and the way he manufactures points, I mean, that guy, he's got CJ McCollum written all over him. The way he just can get buckets, and he's better than Cryer was. I mean, Cryer was a really good player,
No doubt.
but Cryer couldn't manufacture points. This Flemings gets the line all the time. They're another team. Obviously, Houston made the national championship a year ago, so it's going to be hard to top that, but they're playing really well. I think they're well deserved of that, to be in the one seed conversation. Because it was Flemings and then the Surratt kid, who just seems to really be catching on here. That's a great Houston team again. And Uzon's not even playing great. I mean, that's the thing with Houston, is like there's room for upside, and Flemings is only going to get better. Cernak's getting better. That's a scary group. Right
Sharp
now.
is not even shooting the ball
he's
that
not even
well
shooting.
right now.
That's the thing, is like, well, crazy part about Houston is what you thought you were going to get before the season, you're not getting, but you've got guys that are way better than anticipated too. So that's a team that, with their toughness and their inside guys, are always going to come to work. They don't need the ball. They're definitely a Final Four contender and a national championship contender.
And then Monday night, Arizona at Kansas. I can't believe we're in the 56-minute mark and just got to this game. The first time in the Bill Self era that Kansas will host the number one team in the country. Bill Self is 38-0 at Fog Allen on Big Monday. Kansas has never beat the number one team at Allen Fieldhouse. Tickets are $200. Want to make the drive?
I would. Oh, I'm all in. I think Kansas does it, don't you? Although you're the one. You're the one who you were down on Kansas there in January. So was everybody. Everybody.
I know a lot of people have had fun with the pedestrian comments, but like, I'm sure if I asked Bill on Saturday, he would agree with me, because what his team has found, not since I made the comments, but since the timing I made the comments, they found how to play hard, and they found how to play hard for each other. And now they are a team that can absolutely win the national championship.
Arizona's probably 1 or 2 point favorite in that game?
2.5.
2.5.
I just think out of principle, I got to take KU. Arizona is so complete, though.
Oh, they do everything good. Yeah.
Flory Badunga is an awesome player, but if the three-headed monster down low of Awaka, Pete, and Krivas can get him in foul trouble,
they don't have another guy. You're right.
So I think I got to take Kansas just for the rule of Bill Self. But
beware of the early whistles on Arizona down there. I mean, that's got Fox special written all over it, if you know what I'm saying.
I mean, there's no way Tommy Lloyd has ever coached in an atmosphere like that.
Nope.
You can coach at Allen Fieldhouse. Allen Fieldhouse will be at a different level Monday night.
That's must see theater for sure.
To me, I'm anticipating it like the number 1 versus number 2 Buddy Hield Oklahoma game. Like that. That's to me in my head how excited I am for this game. For a lot of reasons. Like, this opens up. If Kansas can do it, it at least makes the Big 12 title race interesting. Because they've still got to go to Houston.
They do.
Arizona does.
Now, as an Iowa State fan, first blush, root for Kansas, because then it gives Arizona a loss. But I warn you, if Kansas beats Arizona, KU has the head-to-head on Iowa State. It would make Saturday's game huge. Yeah, for now, right? I mean, like you're again, seed line and location line. Kansas is right there, and so they are. If Kansas beats Arizona, you're going to see some places vault them into the 2 seed realm really quickly here. So Yeah, I mean, who do you want to win? It's just enjoy the game and let the chips fall is my best advice.
I think it's rock chalk. I think all aspects it lets you control your own destiny is the thing.
That's great point. You want it in your hands. Yeah.
And if you want it in Hilton Coliseum, I don't care how well Kansas is playing, I don't care who they've got on that team. If you can give me the Cyclones at Hilton Coliseum when they just got blown out by that team a month ago, I'm not going to say I'm guaranteeing a win, but I like Iowa State's odds to come out and want to be the team that punches them in the mouth this time.
Great point. It's amazing how much bigger these games seem to be getting by the day that Iowa State's playing going forward.
I'm not going to sleep, Blum.
We can't sleep. We can't sleep. No, it's going to be fun. I'm all in tomorrow night. I agree. I think part of me will be pulling for Kansas, as painful as that is, just to make things interesting down the stretch. And speaking of interesting down the stretch, Bill Fenley's crew.
Yep.
What a story. I am telling you what, like 5 in a row, still without Addie, and I think it's 1-to-1 with, you talk about Tamin on the men's side, Ariana Jackson on the women's side is as important as a leader. The heart, and by the way, she's had statistically a really good year too. So happy for them, and they're going to keep it rolling.
Well, so full disclosure, I did not get to watch this game live. I was working at Hilton until about 6:30. By the time I get home, the game was pretty much in doubt.
Yeah.
But I was following along, and I see that at halftime, Audie Crooks only has 4 points. It was either 4 points or 6 points.
Yep.
I'm like, man, what is
going on?
What's going on? She ends the game 29 points, opens the half on a massive run of her own, and that's where that's what this team didn't have a month ago. They didn't have the Ariana Jackson to get them out of the rut. Sydney Harris had 7 rebounds before she had a point. That's the type of effort that has turned this season around for Iowa State, and that you look at their schedule. I was doing our bucket show over on Iowa Everywhere with Andrew Downs, and we close each episode by predicting the weekend's games. And I predicted a loss, not necessarily because I thought Iowa State would lose.
Yep. BYU's really good.
But I looked at the stretch, I'm like, they're probably going to be favored in all of those games, but do I envision an 8-game winning streak? I'll just choose Utah. That seems like the toughest game out of the 4, but now you get that underway. If you can go on the road and take care of a pretty good BYU team, but they're only 5-7 in the conference. Like, Iowa State's better than them. So if they can go and do that, then you return home for 2 games at Hilton, and an 8-game win streak would be incredible.
Yeah,
if we get way too ahead of ourselves.
So yeah, it's BYU on that's Tuesday at 8, ESPN Plus. You got a little double dip for your Tuesday night, and then K-State, Arizona State at home. K-State's not as good as they have been. Arizona State is better than they have been, new coach. But so what does that mean? Well, just looked at the net ranking this morning. Iowa State up to 31 in the net, safely in the tournament, and 100% the committee will factor in the Addie Brown injury.
Yes.
And I don't know a timetable yet, but it sounds like probably before the Big 12 tournament, hopefully she'll be back. And so that gets factored in. I think there's a world, Jake, and you're going to have to reel off. I don't think you can afford really more than one loss. You probably have to maybe win them all. That Iowa State could get back in the top 4 seed range and therefore host at Hilton Coliseum. So
wouldn't that be something?
It would be huge. I mean, this team has changed the conversation. Shoot, when they went through that losing streak, it's like, are they going to make the tournament? To now, you are really safely in. That win over Iowa looks great. You got some opportunities going forward. So I think this team, absolutely could get in that top 4 seed conversation because they have to factor in the Addie Brown and Jackson injuries during that skid.
I don't know how much Charlie Cream, the ESPN bracketologist, is weighing that injury. I would guess it's probably less than the committee will. Heading into this weekend, Cream had Iowa State as a 9 seed, taking on Notre Dame out in the LA region. So
I think that win over Utah, that'll turn. That's a great win because you're on the road against a team that has been a perennial NCAA tournament team. And the net rankings love that win yesterday.
Yeah, it's a big win for Bill Fenley and his squad, and they'll stay out in Utah for a couple days. Take on BYU Tuesday night, 8:00 ESPN Plus before Saturday game against K-State at 1 next Sunday.
Do you think they get a crumble cookie out there worth a couple days? I bet they probably do.
I bet they do. I'm not a big crumble cookie guy.
You're not? See, maybe I've never had a bad crumble cookie, Jake. I've never had a bad one.
I'm a sweets guy too, and it's almost too sweet
much
for me.
I get that.
And I think I've been ruined by seeing the ingredients in the label.
Well, I'm definitely not looking at that.
Where I'm like,
saturated fat 9,000.
Like, you're telling me I could eat an entire gallon of ice cream and it'd be pretty much the equivalent of eating one of these cookies.
I don't need to know that. I'm at age 41, the weight, the cookie weight doesn't disperse as well as it did when I was your age.
It's the domino effect where you can look at the guy pushing the little domino of crumble cookie to Jimmy Rogers being the head coach at
and that's
at
the
Iowa
other thing
State.
too. It's like, well, I'm throwing a personal protest, but until it's in front of my face, I'm like, well,
yeah.
I mean, I can't say no to crumble cookie. So anyway,
who knows? Maybe Sataki would have taken the Penn State job, and Campbell would have gone out to Provo and used their unlimited resources.
That's a what if podcast for another time, my friend.
That's a June show right there.
I'm not okay. So between the massive saturated fat and the BYU situation, you know what? I'm just gonna stick with an Oreo this week.
That's a good choice.
Grown up.
An Oreo and some Guinness.
Some Guinness. There we go. Yeah.
Well, fun show, Blum.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother. Good work.
65 minutes today on Williams and Blum. We'll be back Wednesday. We hope you are too. I'll probably be back Wednesday. We'll see. We'll see if Williams wants to work while he's on vacation. Thanks for hanging out with us here in the Northwest Bank Studios.